whiskey subscriptions. There's quite a few now where they chuck samples for your letterbox, but are they worth the money? I'm here without a glass, but reviewing the Pour and Sip May 2022 box, and I'm going to let you know what I think. I spent about 10 minutes setting up this, and now I can't see the bottles. That's going to have to change.
A few moments later.
That's better, I can see what I'm doing now. Welcome back to Jeff Whiskey, I'm Jeff. These did contain whiskey. Let's crack on.
Jeff Whiskey.
So today, something a little different. I'm going through the 2022 May box for Pour and Sip Club. This video is not sponsored by Pour and Sip. I'm currently on the 1 box every 2 month subscription. However, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends NordVPN Surfshark. Little YouTube joke there. Right, so Pour and Sip, sometimes they do a theme, and this one was Islay. Every now and then they include little gifts, so in this box it came with a rather dashing Laphroaig bobble hat and a Talisker mug. I know, Talisker's not an Islay, but freebies. But enough of that waffle, let's talk about the whiskey that comes in the box. And from this, I'm going to go from my least favourite to my favourite over the 5 drams. And starting in last place, I should have put these in an order. So my least favourite sample, Kalila Mook. I always thought it was Much, but I thought I'd do a quick, Google, because I have no clue on these things. Probably still wrong. This was one that I was most excited to try because I've not had a bad Kalila. However, I found it really underwhelming. It only contained the tiniest waft of peat and was very subdued on the sweetness front as well. I think the best way to describe it is whenever you go to like a fancy restaurant and the desserts there are minuscule, slightly subdued, maybe more salty than sweet, and gone too quick. This is only 43%, but it disappeared in a flash. And in honesty, no fancy dessert has got anything on a Mr. Whippy. So while this wasn't bad, it's pretty meh. Let's dive on to the next one. So second for last, but more 15-year-old. I found the nose on this to be fantastic. Ripe mangoes, cherries, petrol, and that standard but more like boiled veg, cabbagey smell. Yeah, it was really let down on the palate, very thin. Again, a 43%er. After leaving it in the glass for a few hours, a kind of more blackcurrant taste came forward and is maybe slightly more savoury and a bit more smoky. However, again, nothing mind-blowing and pretty meh. Is that an actual word? In third place, the Brook Laddie, the Organic 2009. I've had to write a piece of paper down there so I can see what I'm talking about. First one for this was reminiscent of Binky Harmony. Lots of ripe orange citrus, cherry tree, blossom, and like flowers, kind of almost rose petals. And like the Bumore, the nose was certainly the highlight and it is quickly let down by the palate. I didn't find a lot of flavour going on, it all felt a bit muddled. I put a few drops of water in, so from 50% maybe it came down to 45, 43. And I felt it was a bit more substantial on the palate and brought notes of white chocolate, was more waxy, minerally. Imagine licking a piece of slate from the beach. We all do that.
Savages.
Either way, after the few drops, it was an improvement from the other two. However, again, not mind-blowing, so currently 3 out of 5 are good, not great. Let's go to my second favourite now, the Kilchoman Snag. I should have looked this one up first. It's always great when the box sends you a sample that you have on your list to try, and lots of people have said positive things about both this and the Loch Gorm. The duck was very savoury, Chinese takeaway, duck and plum sauce, and at the back it kind of lifted and was kind of reminiscent of Highland Park with more of a florally peated smoke, and the palate kept on with the duck notes like hoisin duck wraps, which quickly got sweeter and was more like melted chocolate and hazelnuts and raisins. Sadly, the main downside was the finish, and I wrote down ended too quickly, so something me and the bottle have got in common. So that leaves the last sample of the month, and that is Laphroaig Quarter Cask. This one stood out head and shoulders above the rest. The previous 4 were fine, maybe fine to good. However, this one was leagues ahead and is one that's now on my bottle hit list. It's 48% ABV and it was just sticky barbecue ribs with such sweet creamy mash. Smoked mash? Smash? New market there.
That is good.
Just imagine lots of barbecued sauce on top of barbecued meat with mash on the beach with a roaring fire going. Fantastic nose. It had a very juxtaposing palate where it started very silky and refined, which quickly jumped into lumpy custard, carrying this wonderful tandoori chicken spice, which all finished together in a wonderful, slightly plastic, medicinal finish, which hanged around for quite a while. In hindsight, I should have saved a little bit of each sample back so I could have relived it as I went along, instead of relying on my useless notes. But all in all, this month's been solid. Not the best one. In fact, the May box of 2021 was amazing and had my whiskey of the year in it. Again, no spoilers, but similarities to this. Hopefully there's enough ramble on camera that I can edit this into a half decent video. Knowing me, probably not. But yeah, that's my onions on Pour and Sip. I think the membership's worth it, at least one every 2 months. You get access to the member store, and if you've missed a sample of a bottle you want to try, you can still buy it on the member store at the reduced price. If you're looking for a subscription service, I would recommend Pour and Sip. I've put a referral link in the description below, which takes money off the first box. So it's worth trying, and if you're not a fan, you can cancel it. First box, you also get 2 glasses in there. And as a little side note, if you're one of the people who like to get whiskey advent calendars, the Pour and Sip one for 2021 was leagues ahead in what you get for not only the price, but the samples inside. There are many others online. I think that'll wrap it up now. Hopefully that gives you a quick summary of not only what's in this box, but Pour and Sip as a whole. If it's something that interests you, let me know in the comments, or if there's a better subscription sample service. That's enough rambling. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to give me a like. If you've hated it, a dislike. And if you want to put a smile on my face, if you're not already subscribed, do consider subscribing to the channel. I do videos as often as I can. But anyway, on that note, all the best, and cheers to the next one. In third place, the Brook Lagley. So that leads the